Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. This week was a little bit crazy for me, so I had to delay the episode for a day. I hope you don't mind. But anyway, welcome back to Pardon Me While I Elevate. And this week, we're going to be talking about the strengths and weaknesses in self for entrepreneurship. So, a lot of the time within this channel, I talk about, like what you need and what you're going to need moving forward and the things that are going to change within you and the mindset you need to have, things to keep in mind, like um, sort of forward planning. And then also what you're like as a business owner, as an entrepreneur in whatever capacity you are. But I think that it's very worth circling back to this concept of just like you as an individual. Um, so much of who you are goes into what you're going to be like as a business owner or an entrepreneur in like whatever way works best for you. So it is very, very worth talking about these things in detail, especially with yourself, to just understand what you are like, what you want, what moves the needle, what makes you feel comfortable, what all of these things. There's so many questions to ask, and this goes back to the psychology of being that business owner. And sometimes it's not about thinking of the other people in the team or what you're, because last episode I talked a lot about this like concept of like a third person. Your business is like this third person, which is very helpful and it can give you a lot of insight about how to facilitate that. But there's so much also to keep in mind about you as an individual, because you as an individual is the brain and the lifeblood of this third person. So, for a second, um, we're going to just take it back to self and we're going to do a little reflecting within self to make you a stronger business owner and a stronger leader, even if it's just for yourself, to help you guide your own wants and needs and the needs and wants of your business all together so that everybody gets a chance to win, everybody gets a chance to be heard, and it can all come together beautifully. Um, so, you know, let's think about some situations that you might find yourself in as an individual. Let's separate yourself out from being a business owner or an entrepreneur at all. Just think about you aside from that in your own personal life and what that is like. Like, what are you like in social situations? What are you like at the bar or at a concert? What what are you do you like to stand out? Do you like to fit in? Are you one of those people that in a crowd you want to just kind of like be with everybody else, or do you want to be the big voice? Can you handle the spotlight if the spotlight finds you? If you're an influencer or like a media personality or online in any capacity, and then all of a sudden one of your videos blows up and you become viral, are you capable of handling what comes after that? If you become known, are you the right person for that? Is that going to make you feel joy, or is that going to make you feel really nervous and not be something that you want? Can you muster the courage to present in front of an audience, or are you more of an introvert? Like, could you be someone that teaches a class, or is getting up in front of people something that horrifies you to your very core and it's something you never want to be part of? Um, the answers to these questions are for you. They're not for anybody else. So when you give your answers to those questions, imagine you're in a room by yourself, that no one can hear the answers to these questions. They're not performatively answered. You want to answer them as truthfully as possible so that you know where you stand in all of these, sort of crossroads, because they're going to come and there's always going to be options that you have. Sometimes we don't really see what we don't know yet. So there's going to be crossroads that we can't anticipate. And you're always going to have an option. You might have 5 options, you might have 2 options, but it's very, very, very rare, almost never, that you're going to just be stuck with one thing that you can do, because even if you only have one option, you can also just do nothing, right? So there's always more than one option. And to know yourself and to know what you want and what you're going to choose, what works for you, these things really, really matter. Yeah, like, who are you when you're home alone? What are your hobbies outside of being a business owner or an entrepreneur? Like, what types of activities do you find yourself seeking out? Like, are they ones that bring you outside into the world with other people, or are they like little niche things that it's just kind of you and the thing you're working with, because there's so many variations to this, and degrees. Like, you could be somebody that really likes pottery, and you still want to be with some people that also like pottery, so you go and join like a club, and all of you guys go to this central location, you do pottery together. Or you can do pottery in your house and then just like find somewhere to fire your pieces and go from there. So there's all these degrees of what a person would choose for themselves, and those little things that you choose make up who you are and what you want to go towards. So a lot of the times when I talk to people, especially within Nectar Brand Therapy, it's like, well, I want this big thing. Like, I want to be one of the people that I worked with a long time ago. She was a shoe designer, and she had this model in her head of what she wanted her company to look like, and the success that she wanted for herself. And she was surrounded, she had a lot of connections in the industry, and she was surrounded by people that were doing very, very big things. I won't give any more information than that, but she was around brands that were very well known. And she was modeling what she was doing after what they were doing because she could see their success. However, she had to realize after talking to me that that type of success, that, you know, like pressure of having a line every year, and fulfilling so many orders, and making sure that you have like a factory that you can really trust and can get things in a timely manner, and like replen orders, all these things that were so much. She did not want to be there right then and there. All she was thinking to herself was that, I want success, and this is what success looks like for me right now, so I'm going to go towards that. And I don't blame her. I don't blame her at all. That is what we should aspire to, is the success. But she was not staying in her own world and lane of what she wanted success to look like and to feel like. So if she was thinking about like, okay, I have to have this many orders and I have to make this MOQ, and if I don't make this MOQ, I can't make this line. And there was so much pressure for her to perform perfectly right out the gate. Like, her first shoe launch had to be like, you know, friggin' 500 pairs sold. And it's like, that's just not like an attainable thing. And in her mind, it was like, that was the only way she could achieve getting her dream off the ground and to be this like shoe designer. So like, factoring in what you want and what you feel capable of doing at every step of the way is so important, because you are very easily able to get ahead of yourselves because you see what's around you and you want success like they have success. Even if you say, I don't want to do it the same way they do it, you can be very influenced by this success that someone or a brand has, and you can easily feel behind. So you're trying so hard to like get ahead of all of these struggles and these challenges just so that you can like get to this place of success. But again, like I've said a million times, we forget that the journey is what shows us how to make these choices. Like, you don't know these crossroads you're going to get to until you're at them. So like, you don't know maybe that you're going to have all these choices. Like, oh, I could go to the manufacturer once I have a million orders that can be fulfilled, or I am a classically trained shoe designer myself, and if I only sell 20 pairs, I can make them, right? So there's so many avenues to go down and so many things that the journey of getting to success is going to show you along the way. But if you are pressuring yourself to like do the thing and get the success right away, you're going to miss out on catering this brand around your identity and the identity that you want for your brand, instead of just success, like that's all I want and that's all I'm going towards, you know? So it's like you're tipping your hat off to this like fake end goal, and it's not authentic to like who you want to be and what you want your brand to be like representing. So we can't, as much as we need our brand to stand alone and not be fully us, right? We also need to understand that we are the one driving the bus. So it still has to feel comfortable and attainable for us as the leader and the, like I said, bus driver of this operation. Um, you know, this also kind of gets into the human coding. There's coding in every single person, right? Like the birth chart, the human design, all of these things are coding within every single human. And, you know, the prompts for the birth chart are, you know, where you're born, the location of birth, your birthday, and then the time of birth. These are all sort of prompts that factor into the coding of each human being. And even though this speaks on a good chunk of who a person is, it's not speaking on you in totality, right? Your birth chart doesn't account for all the things that you could encounter in life. It doesn't account for, you know, a personality disorder or your lived experiences, your trauma. It could say that you're more susceptible to something or less susceptible to something, but it doesn't say like on this day you're going to go through this horrible thing and it's going to change who you are as a person. Or it doesn't say that your mother was a narcissist and raised you in a way that made you become a narcissist, or, you know, just whatever. There's countless examples of things that your birth chart is just simply not able to account for. And while seeing these things in front of you as a fact of your human coding are very influential and can be very important, they're not the full story. So kind of like I was saying last time about, you know, how the someone can be doing the same thing as you but they're not you. It's like I could meet somebody that's my same big three, like in my chart, right? So my big three are Virgo, Pisces, Virgo. Now I could meet another Virgo, Pisces, Virgo, and Virgo, Pisces, Virgo very differently than they do. There's there's no real way for two people to be the exact same. And so because of that, like even identical twins, right? They don't have the same birth time. So they don't maybe have the same, I mean, they don't have the same birth chart. So even identical twins have these changes within them. And every single kid grows up in their family differently. The dynamics of birth order, the dynamics of gender, all of these things play such a big role in what our lived experiences are like. So we can't fully lean on anything to tell us like this is exactly who you are. These are the measures of like, and then there's also this parameter of the human design, which takes in the same variables and prompts to spit out your human design. Now, we can learn so many things from these kind of coding, you know, outputs. And we can be sort of comforted and feel fulfilled from the information that we get back, because it's it can, like, for example, being a double Virgo in my big three is very logical. It's very, very logical. And I like to see the facts before the emotions, right? I can help people get right to the facts of the matter and solve the problem. And I'm very like analytical in that way. However, my moon, which is my emotion center, is Pisces. And Pisces is the most emotional sign in the whole zodiac like emotional depth, and it's the 6 month opposite of Virgo. Okay, so I am sandwiched in the full opposites of each other. So you're getting this like deep analytical on both sides, and then it's sandwiched between, or like on the outsides of, this extreme depth of emotion. Okay, so it's the opposites all together, and they're all fighting to win, and you never really know which one's going to win. It's situational. Every single situation could have a different, part of me that's called upon. I could have so much emotion for myself and what I go through, but when I help somebody else, it doesn't affect my emotion because I'm giving them the logic, because every single person feels for their own emotion more deeply than they're going to feel the logic, especially when it's like matters of the heart, something that hurts us, or like a breakup or a relationship or something like that, where it's tender and vulnerable. Like that person already is feeling the emotion, and sometimes what they call upon others for is the logic. It's very, very similar to a business. You are at times in a place where you're so emotional about like, this isn't working, or that's not working, or I don't understand how I got here. All of these emotions are I don't want to say clouding, because that kind of feels negative, but they're bigger. They're a bigger emotion than you just getting to the facts of the matter and being able to navigate like what's just going to get you to the next win. And you know those types of ways of knowing yourself, of knowing like, I'm an emotional person and I lead with emotion, and sometimes that catches me up, or I am very analytical, all I want to do is win, all I want to do is get to from point A to point B, I don't really think about emotion a lot. Those types of people also need a lot more time in emotion to understand that the reason you're not getting from point A to point B is because you're not viewing your emotions. You're not allowing your emotions to have their time and to like sink in and to be felt. There are so many things that life will throw at you all the time to tell you that, like, hey dude, you're not paying attention to emotions enough, or like, hey dude, you're way too bogged down in emotion, you need to get back to fact in order for you to be where you want to be. It's a constant balance in this life of those two things, like the mind and the heart, right? And we're not perfect, we're not going to get it right every time. Sometimes we need help, and that's totally fine. But understanding when you need help, understanding when you're out of sync with yourself, or all these things like that we've been talking about, like within, balance, and within your purpose, and within alignment, all of these things are spiritual. They really are. And, it takes time to practice how to be within those things. And, you know, if you're out of sync with those things in your personal life, chances are you're going to be out of sync with them in other spaces, because you can't be the leader you want to be if you're out of sync with yourself. So, as much as you're creating these other things, it's almost like, again, being a mother or a father, like you are the leader, you are the one driving the bus, but there's things that depend on you. And sometimes, no matter the age of them, they depend on you more or less. And once something is a well-oiled machine, once it's older and can, make its own choices or fend for itself, it needs you a little less. But in the beginning, it's a helpless infant and you are its whole world. So just don't sleep on the fact that you are the lifeblood. You you carried this for, however long it took before it was birthed, and you being the solid foundation and being sure of yourself is going to just be the thing that everybody needs in the end of the day. And there's complexities to every situation, and once we realize um that each of us is just very unique and special. Once we remove ego from saying things like, no one could be me, no one does it like me, once we remove our ego from that statement and believe that statement, we're not saying I do it better than you, I do it better than them. You're just saying no one does it like me. So it's not saying I'm the shit and you're not. It's saying I know my superpower. I'm going to protect my worth and I'm going to be able to use my superpower in a healthy way because I'm not putting anyone else down. I'm not taking something from somebody else. I'm simply saying, I know my worth and I know who I am. And because of that, I'm going to do whatever it is that I want to do. So there's power in taking these things into account and being that person you want to be every single day and waking up and saying like, I should feel like this. You should feel like this. You should feel like this. It's not just me. We should all feel like this. But if we put ego in it and we're like, I'm the shit, I'm better than you, I'm above you, that's when you lose. That's when everything that you worked for is gone because it's fake. It's not real. No one is above someone else, right? And that's just not a right way to think about anything. It's whether it's like true or false, it's a very flawed logic. And you just shouldn't be rooted in a place where you're setting yourself up to compete with anyone else. That's just should be so far out of your mind. Like all you should be thinking about is you, your path, what you want to do, and getting there. Um, Everything else and all of those other paths are for other people to worry about. And I think that, you know, this world has kind of tricked us and shown us that we should be comparing ourselves to others and success is only measured by how much ahead of someone else you are. And like, what? Like, no, absolutely not. That's just loser mentality. And you know, these complexities in our lived experiences and our birth charts and our human design and all these things, they make us all so unique. We need each other's uniqueness. Like I was on Instagram the other day and I saw this person that had commented under this Virgo post that said she had my same birthday and that she had Virgo sun and Virgo rising, which all three of those things like align with me. And I was like, oh my God, like what's your moon? Trying to see if she had not only my birthday, but my big three. And her moon was different than mine, but it was almost like you're my twin, you know, like I wonder if you understand things the way I do. I wonder if you have experienced things the way I do. And it's exciting to get to a place where like some random person on the internet that doesn't even live in my country, right, could be someone that you're like, wait, now I'm connected to you and I want to know more about you. There's so many opportunities out in the world for connection and there's far less opportunity for you to draw back from somebody, or there should be no incentive to be like, oh, this person is like a Gemini, I don't want to be near them. Like those things are taught to us and they are literally put there for us to fail and to be divided, and I've said this a couple times too, but it's like all of the things that you're not, someone else is. So why would you hate on them? If 10 people all want to do the same thing as you, why wouldn't you want to empower each other? Like I have friends that post on YouTube. I have friends that post on TikTok. I have a couple friends that have gone viral on TikTok. That doesn't mean I don't want to do this. That doesn't mean that they don't want to be friends with me. We all should be here together supporting and uplifting each other. It doesn't take anything away from you. Same with baking. Like I I don't want other bakers not to do well. Bakers have come up to my table when I'm selling it and be like, "Oh, I'm a baker," and we have this whole conversation. They're not like, "Oh, I don't want to support you because I'm also a baker and I only want money coming into my pocket." Like, no, of course not. This is just like it's just not what we should be representing. And you know, there are so many things just even within that. Like as a business owner, like do you want to be working face to face with somebody like that would come up to you at a table and share their little tidbits of information? Like do you want to be customer facing? Do you want to just like put a shop online and just make something and sell it so that you're not really talking to people or you're not like having interactions? um there's just so many choices that you come across where a lot of people are like, "Oh, I really like making jewelry and I want to make jewelry." But selling it just feels like, oh, like I had to talk to all these people and be in front of them and, you know, like sell my stuff, like make my stuff feel worthy and, talk about quality and stuff. And that just like isn't my thing. And I'm like, okay, well, you could just sell online. You could find ways to market that don't have to include your face. And if they do, it's a video that you make behind closed doors with nobody sitting near you, and then you post it later. So there's no like real live audience. There's just so many things to take into account when you're creating your first steps of like what you want, because it should be exactly what you want. And like, don't get me wrong, there should definitely be a distinction between what is going to challenge you, and what is outside of your comfort zone in a way where you don't want it. So, like for me, just for me, I really love. I'm an outgoing person. I guess you could say I'm an extrovert. I'm also an introvert, though. I can kind of go both ways. And when this whole cookie concept first came up, it felt to me like it was like a little kid with a lemonade stand. I didn't want to feel like I had just gone from this like big corporate job to like a little baby kid on the sidewalk. But you quickly realize when you just do the thing that that's not at all what it feels like. I've sold lemonade many times in my life on the side of the street in my neighborhood as a child, and this didn't feel anything like that. It's a much more mature vibe just right off the bat. And so this was something that felt comfortable for me, but immediately after I was sitting there, people were like, "Oh, you should go get into like farmers markets, or you should go become part of this like, you know, summer fest or like whatever. Or you should go sell and go over here. Oh, you should go online and sell boxes." So I had so much to think about. So many people were putting ideas on the table for me. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's a good idea. Thank you so much for telling me about that. Now I can think about it. And as I'm brewing it over, I'm like, boxes online. Wow, that's a really good idea. I do want to do that because it's like easy and fun, and you get to see who wants them and how many flavors you can sell and all this stuff. But then I'm like, I don't want to be sitting in a market that often with like tons of other vendors and tons of other things and super hot, and that is like a wonderful thing. I actually walk through those markets a lot, but it's not my vibe to sit and do that. I can do it sometimes. I'm not saying I'm like totally averse to it, but that's not my style. I like to be in a place where someone's like, "Oh wow, I actually came here to mail something, but now I'm seeing there's this like random cookie stand. Let me go see what's up." That to me, being in a place where someone doesn't expect you and then they're like, "Fuck it, let me get a cookie. Sure, why not?" That is more my speed. And I had the choice to say to myself, "Do I want to go be part of these markets and these, stands and stuff, or do I want to be random and do my own thing and be here and be here and be here and like see how that feels?" And like it's perfectly fine because I could be wrong. I could want to do this for 6 months and feel like it's not really for me. Now I want to go do the markets. But I am staying true to myself as the leader of my business, and I'm able to make those shifts and make those choices and change up and do all that stuff because I'm not saying like, "Oh, this person had a really good idea for me to make money. Let me go do it." There was a person that approached my table a couple of days ago, and he was like, "Oh, I have this event and I would really love for you to come sell cookies." And immediately I was like, "Oh, that's so great. That sounds like a great vibe." And then later on, the vibe just didn't stay as good as it originally was. And if I'm thinking to myself only like, "Oh, I want to make money. I want to be out here making money," I'm going to get myself in situations I don't want to be in. You could maybe feel uncomfortable. The details could be weird. Someone could not give you as much information as you wanted. There could be less transparency. When you show up to the event with all your stuff and all your materials, it could be a weird situation where you don't really want to be there. So there's all this like, you have to come first. What feels right for you when there's a fork in the road going left or going right, like it's all up to you. And these things are going to play so much into what your business becomes, because nobody else is going to be able to help you in a way that's aligned with what you really want other than you. So, all of these times that you think to yourself, like, I really don't want to, get up and publicly speak, or I really don't want to just have an online business. I want to interact with my clients. Um, Rock with those feelings, do those things. Like within my dog food classes, right? I had the choice between always doing online classes, because like for anybody that doesn't live in New York that wants to take my classes, I have to do like Zoom calls and do them that way. But then for the people that live in New York, they're invited to come to the studio that my partner in this business and I have. Like it's her studio, but she allows me to come teach classes there. And for the last couple of classes, there's only been like a few people that come to them. So she says, like, have you ever thought about just doing everything online and then it's just like easier? And while I totally see the financial gains of that, like she doesn't have to open up her studio every time and she doesn't have to like get us there. And like there's a lot of, just fundamental things that cost more money when you do it in person. But like for me, I want to get to know this person. I want to be there with this person and have this human connection and allow them to see that they can trust me and that I know what I'm talking about and that I'm real, like I'm real. And sometimes you don't get those things online. I think that a lot of our world has been transitioned to an online space since COVID, and we haven't really gotten all of it back. And I think human connection is just so important. But I also understand and recognize that that's not for everybody, and not everybody wants the same things that I want. So I just encourage you to think about these questions. What am I like behind closed doors? What would I want for myself? What would I want for my business? And don't just go towards things that feel painful. And like I said before, understand the line between pushing yourself to like be better and do better and knowing like what you really don't like and what you really do not want for yourself, because there is a line. And like I've pushed myself to do things. I've pushed myself to get up in front of people or to figure out an elevator pitch or, all these things that are scary and make me nervous, but I did them because even though it was a little scary, the outcome was what I wanted. That is not the truth for everybody. And to stay in alignment is to have to know what your alignment is. And to know what your alignment is to have a deep bond with yourself, to know what you're good at, to know what you need some help in, and to know the difference between the two when you go out into the world and make decisions for your business and what it's going to be. So keep these things in mind. Make sure you ask yourself these things. Don't be afraid of what the answers are going to be. There's always going to be choices and options for whatever you want to be. And have faith that no matter what the choices are, that you are going to have success if you just stay true to that, stay authentic to that. So, like I always say, if you ever need any help or if you ever want any, assistance within your business or planning it out, you can always contact me here for my help within Nectar Brand Therapy. And wishing you the loveliest week you can have. And I will see you next Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in.